Georgia Southern by the name of Chaz Williams.
Williams versus Williams today. Chaz Williams is a different cat. He likes to run the option. He's a leading rusher in the Southern Conference, a leader of this team offensively.
Defensively, Nigel Rogers, a terrific story, the young man who's in charge of defensive things with App State.
He's a redshirt, sixth-year eligibility. He had 2 major knee injuries. He got medical red shirts. He's a leader of the defense. He's the kind of the grandfather of this team.
And for Georgia Southern, Derek Butler.
Derek Butler anchors that 4-3 defense. He's had 3 sacks, 1 interception, the second leading tackler on the team. He moves well. Good speed, good tough defensive player.
The third member of our crew today, Ted Byrne, patrolling the sidelines with these insights before the game kicks off. Ted.
All right, Warren, as you mentioned, both these teams without a loss in the conference. Appalachian has 1 more loss than does Georgia Southern. Statistically, as you look at these two teams here, how they rank up. Points per game, Appalachian is averaging 31.7, while Georgia Southern averaging 51.2. For points allowed, 31.8 Appalachian, only 18.7 for Georgia Southern. On the ground, the Eagles are getting 484, while Appalachian just getting 382. Should be a great game, Warren.
Hope you'll stick around, folks. Live from Paulson Stadium here in Statesboro, Georgia. We're about ready to kick it off. Georgia Southern at home against App State. CSS Game of the Week coming up right after this. Georgia Southern, after losing their very first game of the year to Georgia, they've now run off 5 consecutive wins, and man, are they rolling offensively. We'll develop that story as the game goes on before a homecoming crowd here at Paulson Stadium. Our coaches this afternoon, for Jerry Moore there in his 14 winning seasons in his 16th year, the winningest coach in Southern Conference history. It goes without question. He's the winningest coach at the school. Jerry Moore comes in, and he has become the Dean of Conference coaches here in the Southern Conference. Across the way, Mike Sewak, just in his 3rd year, but what he would like to see hanging from that pole down to our left is another national championship banner. They've got 6 down there right now, just kind of briskly blowing in the breeze. And this team, I believe, privately, you hear the whisperings around town here in Statesboro as we've been here the last day or so, they believe there is something great in store for this Georgia Southern squad. Yes, they lost the opening game this year to Georgia. They have yet now to, though, be the only team that has scored 28 points against Georgia. What App State comes in, though, here, Walt Nadzak, is a phenomenal victory over Furman last week, which was then ranked number 2. 9-1 overall this series. How even could it be? ASU, though, has had problems in this particular area. They've not won at Paulson Stadium since '96. We're about ready to kick it off, and Walt, we set it up in the beginning. App State last week with a phenomenal victory over Furman.
Warren, they've come a long way since that opener at Wyoming when Coach Moore said our players thought they went out there for a rodeo instead of a football game. Well, they know how to play football now. They've really improved. This should be a great contest.
App State's going to put it on the tee with Julian Roush, a freshman. He transferred from East Carolina. And Georgia Southern's going to get the ball first, and that's exactly how they like it right here in Statesboro, because they have the ability to march that ball down the field. Man, they have just always seemed to have the ground game here, Walt, through the years.
Well, they've always had a great rushing attack. They run that option out of a double slot. Paul Johnson's running at Navy, and before him, they ran it down here. They're not going to scrap that. This crowd's used to seeing those big option plays.
We'll keep our eyes on Georgia Southern. Now, we mentioned the 2 Williams at quarterback on both sides. Here's the opening kickoff, and it sails deep into the end zone and beyond as Georgia Southern will watch that ball sail into the back fence and head on to the 20-yard line for their first possession.
There's a pretty good wind blowing that direction, Warren.
Starting lineup here for the Georgia Southern Eagles. Offensive line, they're anchored by the center, Lance Wayne, even though Lance Wayne himself is a sophomore. He's got some experience, and Chad Moat also leaned on heavily there, and we'll tell you why a little bit later. Otherwise, on the offense, you'll have to keep in mind Chaz Williams, who definitely is a guy that will make things happen out of that backfield. 1st and 10, Georgia Southern gets its first possession. Little give up to the fullback in the very beginning there, and Jermaine Austin's name is a name we'll hear called very often throughout the day. The Southern Conference Player of the Year back in 2003. The year before that, in 2002, Chaz Williams was the Conference Player of the Year.
You know, last year Appalachian State shut Georgia Southern down in the second half. They played good assignment football. Somebody's got the fullback, the quarterback, the pitchman. When they have nose trouble and try to act on their own and don't play the team defense, that's when they get hurt.
Small gain here. Williams brings them back up to the line. Around the left side. Watch it, number 26. Get to the outside there for Georgia Southern. And man, is that a nice move by Marquise Maynard.
Appalachian's contain broke down out here on the right side.
Pretty good sailing there.
It's a little reverse from the wing back on the right, coming back into the split inside to the wide side of the field here.
First down, Georgia Southern. As advertised, they are already marching downfield. The defense for App State, linebackers West, Carter, and Mayfield. And the defensive secondary will be tested as well. We'll kind of highlight those guys. There's Austin again up the middle. He's only played 6 quarters this year because of some injuries and also a suspension earlier this week where Coach Sewak just sat him down. We'll look at the defense also as we continue to chart things here early going as we get you ready. Linebackers are West, Carter, and Mayfield for App State.
Georgia Southern showed a little different offensive set. They had a tight end in that last alignment.
Williams keeping there himself and picks up a couple.
He had the pitch right there, Warren, but I think he thought he could make the first down.
Williams has had a couple of huge games already this year, and it's kind of a comeback season for him as he had a phenomenal year just a couple of years ago as a sophomore. And then injuries last year caused him to miss 3 games. He's been called by a couple of members in that team as the heart and soul of this squad, and they're now sitting with a 3rd and short here just across midfield.
Look, Appalachian's got 11 people up near the line of scrimmage.
Williams keeps it, gets the first down at about the 45-yard line.
They're pressuring it inside, Warren. They're trying to get gap control on that offense, and that's what they stopped them with last year. They're trying to control the gaps.
I mentioned that Georgia Southern scored 28 to open the season in a loss to Georgia. They're averaging 51 a game right now as they continue to lead the country, Division I and Division I AA, in scoring. 1st and 10 now from the 45. Williams comes around. There's a pitch. The ball's loose, but it is picked back up there by number 26, Marquise Maynard.
They might be calling that a forward pass on that pitch.
It almost looks like Maynard kind of got himself and his timing and his distance from the quarterback.
They called that an incomplete pass. I'm sure that was a forward pitch. There was no place to go out there, Warren. That was bottled up.
So Georgia Southern avoids what could have been a very costly miscue there near midfield. And it'll be 2nd and 10 from, we'll call it the 45-yard line.
They ran that into the boundary and ran out of room.
In motion goes Cantrell. And then to give back the other way. T.J. Anderson from Lithonia, Georgia gets the call.
It's the same play they ran a few plays ago to get the first down initially.
They really come at you in a lot of different ways. They've had 6 different guys this year rush for 100 yards.
They spread it around, don't they? The difference is App State spreads it around throwing it.
We're going to definitely see 2 different approaches to trying to get the ball in the end zone this afternoon. So far, the opening minutes have been Georgia Southern's ball as they've marched it from their own 20 and now are inside the 40-yard line. 3rd down, about 4 to go. Austin trying to pick his way. He gets first down yardage and a little bit more. He's brought down at the 30-yard line.
Another little misdirection play inside. Man, he's quick hitting that hole. And the sticks move again.
Jerome Touchstone on hand there from his corner position to try to bring him down. Here's Austin.
They pulled that right guard and he led number 64 led through the hole. Got a great block.
First down inside the 30 now. Georgia Southern marching as they have since they received the opening kickoff. If you've just joined us from around the southeast, App State trying to give Georgia Southern its first conference loss this year. App State has not lost in the conference either, coming off a huge victory over Furman, who was then ranked number 2 in the country last week this time.
Well, obviously, their philosophy is to run the option into the short side of the field because they must count numbers, and Appalachian must have more numbers to the wide side. But there's no place to run on that. That's twice now they've been bottled up out here. Now we'll see if they put the ball in the air, Warren.
2nd and 9. Yet to throw a pass unless you count, that, I guess, that incomplete toss that was actually ruled a forward pass there. But in terms of the more conventional drop back, they're going to give it right to Austin again, and he's corralled near the 25.
I believe it was a face mask in there. I don't see a flag anyplace, but I'd like to see the replay of that one.
Yeah, Austin's head did look like it might have been pulled back there about the 25. No flag, though, thrown on the play. See right there, 95 maybe kind of getting his hand on the Omar Byram, but no call there.
Well, I think it was inadvertent. It would have only been a 5-yard penalty, but it would have been a key first down. I think Georgia Southern's in 4-down territory here. If they get close, they'll go for it.
They're not afraid to do that. 3rd and 5 is where we stand now at about the 25. Here comes yet another little toss to the outside, and that again is number 26. They'll make that 28, Marquise Maynard.
There's the first key decision right here, Warren. It looks like 4th down and a long 2.
Well, they've been very successful, like 79%. They've gone for it on 4th down this year 14 times and converted 11 of them.
Well, the kicking has been a little erratic, though, from that distance. I think that's the key to this.
4th and 2 at the 22. Georgia Southern with Chaz Williams sets him down.
Well, Appalachian's got 9 guys in the box.
Williams back to pass, looking, and all alone. I mean, he is going to waltz into the end zone. Touchdown, Georgia Southern.
I believe he went down the block and just hesitated for a minute and got lost in the shuffle and then broke outside. When Appalachian put 9 guys in the box, there was no way they could cover deep.
Georgia Southern to Eric Hadley, and that is a touchdown for the Eagles.
Warren, that's a classic wishbone pass play.
I mean,
the tight end gets lost in the shuffle.
Wide open, doesn't even begin to express exactly how available he was. And Georgia Southern strikes first. 7-0. The Eagles grabbing the opening lead.
You know, the key to this, they've run a lot of time off that clock.
They've had it the first 5 minutes, essentially, and we will take a break with App State looking to get its first possession. You're watching CSS, your source for sports. Back in just a moment. Eric Hadley's first catch of his career. You're saying, wait a minute. I kind of follow Georgia Southern football. Isn't he a defensive player? Well, you know what? When I saw him go into the end zone myself, I'm saying, wait a minute. The notes I took had him playing defensive tackle. It's the first catch of his career, and it goes for a touchdown there as they went for it on 4th and a couple. So the leading scoring team in all of college football at 51 a game marches down in its opening possession. 12 plays, 80 yards in the first 4:43. And now App State will get a chance to touch the ball for the first time this afternoon.
You know, he's wearing a tight end number, and he outgrew being an end. They put him at tackle on defense.
Well, you know, he hasn't even done anything all afternoon on the defensive side, but he's got something to talk about and walk about all night long. Here's App State with a nice return from the very opening moment here by Lewis Barr. Check that on that. Dexter Jackson with that. Let me set Georgia Southern's defense for you. McBride, Young, Muhammad, and Barr in the defensive secondary for the Eagles. And they will be really tested this afternoon because of Richie Williams' ability to put this ball in the air. You're going to watch no huddle all afternoon. It's the way they do it. We'll talk about how they get the plays into the offensive set in a bit. Many times they won't put anybody in the backfield, but they are spread. And the give is initially to Alan Atwater, who takes it right up as a sophomore out of Middlesex, North Carolina, for a short gain.
He was their leading rusher last year. Now the key is whether Georgia Southern can keep track of Falks out there. He's caught 50 passes this year.
We'll keep our eyes on not only Atwater, but also number 22, Devon Folks. Here's Williams looking near first down territory. And the pass intended for Victor Chavis, incomplete. The App State offense. Bettis, Oliver, Brown, Suttle, and Grawl along that offensive line. 3rd and about 7 for App State on their first possession this afternoon.
Big possession play. Spread formation again. And here comes pressure.
Oh, is he going to rule it incomplete? Yes, he does.
It's a great hit, but
Victor Chavis, intended receiver last week. Williams was able to complete at one point 28 in a row. He's missed his first 2 this afternoon, and Georgia Southern holds on its first defensive stop. App State will have to punt it away.
Terrence McMurray made a great hit there, Warren, knocked that ball loose. He put his hat on the ball.
Wes Herlocker back to kick inside his 20. Left-footed kick, kind of turning end over end, received at about the 20-yard line.
Had the benefit of a lot of wind behind that punt as well.
Georgia Southern's going to take over their second possession of the afternoon. The first one was pretty successful. We'll take a quick break here from Statesboro. Georgia, everybody, not just a slight zephyr blowing here this afternoon. This wind's pretty stiff, and it's essentially, as we look at the field of play right now, it's in the face of the direction that Georgia Southern is driving. It could have also, I think, impacted maybe the throwing opportunities that App State had when it was behind them. Here's Chaz Williams bringing him down again. Looking for room on the outside.
They got a great block out there out of the wide receiver coming back toward the ball.
Kevin Davis does get it around that right side for a nice gain.
The early momentum is clearly in Georgia Southern's favor right now.
They were a little concerned in that offensive line earlier this week because Paul Collins went down. Lost to injury, done for the year. He was hurt last year, and they've had to reshuffle some things there, and they were a little concerned just how effective that offensive line would be today.
Talked with Coach Seawack yesterday. He was really worried about that and how that was going to work out.
There's the fullback, again, Jermaine Austin, who gets a slight gain, and that was on 2nd and 1 as they tried to convert, and they're not going to come up with that on this play. I will tell you, Chaz Williams did get his 9th TD pass of the season this past time, and you'll see that offensive problems that they're doing with the middle there. Carter leading the way there for App State.
Well, it looks like Appalachian's made the decision to stop Jermaine Austin. They've bottled him up inside pretty well so far, but they've left those corners pretty vulnerable.
Well, he's averaging about 10 a game, and Williams is going to keep it himself this time, and does appear he's got enough for the first down.
You know, Appalachian defense, they're just daring you to throw the football. They're daring you to throw it. They're all up on the line of scrimmage. The 2 corners are only 3 yards off the ball.
Well, they dared him in that first drive, and what a conversion it was.
Well, they better not do a double dare because they're in real trouble here.
1st and 10 now, ball at the 42. Well, let's mark that. Yeah, let's say 42, 43 maybe. Williams looking to be outside and gets the pitch. The pitch good there to T.J. Anderson. He gets good yardage around that right side once again.
You know, Appalachian's got 2 what I would call rookie cornerbacks, and they're having trouble with the blockers. The wideouts at Georgia Southern are doing a great job of containing those corners and getting in their numbers and holding them up so they can't penetrate to the pitch.
2nd and short. This is pretty ideal here for the way Georgia Southern likes to grind it out, and they can really put some offensive numbers on the board as they have through their first 6 games. Again, right up the middle.
It's an inside counter. I think they were anticipating quarterback sneak there, frankly.
Good enough for the first down, though, and Georgia Southern, as they did in their last drive, going 12 plays with 80 yards, gets another first down, and App State is going to have some trouble here if they can't. They're not going to have the ability to score if they continue to keep this defense on the field as much as they have.
I don't want to dwell on a time of possession, but it's huge right now.
App State's only possession to this point in the first quarter, 3 and out.
Oh, what
another
a great
pitch.
block on the corner out there.
Lennon Jefferson Redshirt freshman getting the carry this time, and you'll see just how many different pieces to this puzzle there are for this Georgia Southern offense.
They executed extremely well. And Chaz, his pitches are sharp.
All the running back pieces seem to be so interchangeable too, Walt. It just really doesn't matter who gets it next.
They're just all running backs.
2nd and 5. Ball at the 41 now of App State.
There's a toss sweep to the wide side here. They're having trouble getting outside to this side. Appalachian's defending this side of the field very well.
Here's how this looks along the sideline camera view. Kevin Davis just kind of tucking it under there and just moving to the outside before he's wrestled to the ground. Makes it 3rd and 3. Ball at the 38.
Jeremy Wiggins is probably the best defensive back for Appalachian State. He made a nice play there. He was being blocked. He's still forced to play.
3rd and 3. It's the first time any school's ever had 2 previous conference players of the year coming back. 2002 player of the year, their quarterback, Chaz Williams. 2003 player of the year, Jermaine Austin. What an advantage that is,
awesome?
Huh? We're going to take a quick break here, see if the Saturday afternoon in Statesboro, folks with quilts and blankets pulling up there. Forget all the box seats that might be available. These folks kind of enjoy just sitting out, enjoying a very, very pleasant Saturday afternoon here in October. A very important early first quarter moment here in this game as it's 3rd and 2 at the 38. Williams trapped in his own backfield and dropped for a loss.
He never put the ball on the fullback's hip there to get any, to draw the defense and freeze them. He didn't freeze them at all.
Omar Byram leading that charge there, along with a little help there from Joe Suter.
And I think Georgia Southern's going to go for this.
4th down, they were successful, and they have been all year long at this point.
4th and 2.
This is 4th and a couple. Ball about where it was originally spotted at the 38. Williams changing the signal there at the line. Looking down the line here. Outside, does he get it enough?
I think he got it. He crossed that chalk. Like Coach Seawack's going to be a riverboat gambler here.
Marquise Maynard gets it outside there. I'm sorry, I thought it was Marquise, but I'm afraid it wasn't. It was not 28, it was 26. And that's not Marquise. I've called his name a couple times. That's T.J. Anderson. 1st down, nonetheless, for Georgia Southern here, and they're marching. They keep the drive alive. The ball's at the 35. The ball's loose. And again, bounces back into a Georgia Southern's arms. Man, that's a couple of times they've had a problem on that left side. And that time it was Marquise Maynard who just couldn't bring it in.
Well, Georgia Southern's been pretty stubborn. They're still trying to run into the boundary over here on the short side, and they're running right at their best defensive back, Jeremy Wiggins. And they haven't blocked him too successfully so far.
App State's offense has had the ball 1 time now as we approach the 5-minute mark of the first quarter. 2nd and 12. Ball now marked at the 37. Williams back for another pass. He looks right down the middle and wide open inside the 5-yard line. Touchdown, Georgia Southern. 2 passes, 2 touchdowns by Chaz Williams, and that now is his 10th touchdown pass of the season.
They ran a flag post and beat the defensive secondary to the inside.
Jason Foster at about the 4-yard line brings it in and then takes it into the end zone. Touchdown, Georgia Southern.
You know, we talked about Nigel Rogers pre-game, but that's who got beat on that play.
Point after is good, and Georgia Southern now has had the ball twice, and on both long possessions have come up with touchdown passes. We talked about how effective Chaz Williams has been throwing the ball. You talk about getting the most for your money. That's now 10 touchdowns for the year, and that eclipses his career high that he set back in 2002. Let me tell you that you can catch fan favorite Talkin' Sports with Danny Sheridan live tomorrow at 8 Eastern on CSS for an hour of debate and discussion about college football, along with some interviews with top college coaches. Don't miss Sheridan fielding calls and questions from viewers throughout the region. Catch Talkin' Sports tomorrow at 8 only on CSS. So Foster into the end zone with a touchdown. The redshirt freshman out of Canton, Georgia.
Warren, this is supposed to be the other way around. Appalachian's supposed to be throwing for the touchdown passes. Georgia Southern's supposed to be running the ball in the end zone.
Well, if App State comes out and starts really running the ball now, then we've got some real issues.
Going to mess up all of our notes.
The first drive lasted 12 plays. This one, 11 plays, covering 69 yards. We'll get down to Ted Byrne here in a minute to get some of his impressions from this opening quarter of play. App State has only touched the ball once, and that was on a 3-and-out. Last week, they trailed at halftime to Furman before really finding some solutions to things. A short squibber here is going to be fielded inside the 20-yard line as App State is met, very harshly there at about the 27.
I think they tried to squib kick that because of the wind. That's when they kick it high, there's too much chance of a return. Is that an offsides back there? No, there isn't. What a great hit.
So Jerry Moore's squad is going to get their second possession of the ball game, and they'll get pretty good field position at about the 27-yard line.
I think we'll see the ball in the air now because they've still got the wind at their back, and they think they can throw it deep. But I think the ball sails when that wind's at your back as heavy as that wind's blowing right now.
Richie Williams, named to about half a dozen different National Division I AA Player of the Week publications this past week after his performance against Furman. Here he is on the run, and maybe a 1-yard gain.
I don't think that was a broken play. I think that was a called play. It's like a quarterback draw.
Stop made by Eric McIntyre. And you'll see number 98 there, who's kind of a defensive captain along the way as well. He caught the first pass for a touchdown for Georgia Southern early in this game. 2nd and 9.
We have 4 wide receivers out here. And Georgia Southern's going to come after him. Here they come.
Quick pass outside, and it's in the hands of Hans Bachon.
The timing on that play was excellent.
Terrific run after the catch as well.
He threw under a lot of pressure. They were right in his face. I think we're going to see more of that now. They've decided they're not going to be able to run the ball.
First down for App State. They're near the midfield. This is their furthest penetration of the afternoon. Williams back, looking long, can't find anything, breaks out of the pocket, still wants to find a receiver, and nearly has it intercepted there. As coming up with the nice defensive play is number 2, Lewis Barr.
I thought he should have thrown that one out of bounds deliberately. That was close.
He looked like he might have been trying to throw it away, but he didn't throw it far enough away.
You know, the college rule is a little different than the pro. You got to get outside the tackle box, and you have to throw it past the line of scrimmage to doing a grounding of the ball without being a penalty.
2nd and 10 now, still at the 48. Williams looking for the signals from the sideline. He had him open there across the middle there, but couldn't. Yeah, just a little bit behind the intended receiver.
I think you see a little bit there of that wind affecting that ball. It sailed on him.
Yeah, I think a lot of times, you know, in golf, you'd like the wind to be with you as much, but it really does affect the way the ball comes out of
the way my game's going. I need all the wind behind me on the golf course that I can get.
3rd and 10. The only one in the backfield is.
Look
how wide this spread is.
We'll take a little gap control here.
You don't see that much of spread on a buffet on Sunday afternoon after church.
Southern's going to have to lock up man-to-man. Maybe that's what they're trying to get him to do.
Everybody says, I got him, I got him. Williams looking. There's still coverage downfield. He's trying to float it outside and does get it into the arms of Lewis Barr.
Well, it sure gave him a lot of room to maneuver back here because they cut down the Georgia Southern people in the gaps and left it wide open for a run pass.
I don't know if I've ever seen the gaps that wide as they set that offensive formation.
I don't care who's playing in the secondary. to cover a receiver that long in a wide open field with 5 of them out there running around, somebody's going to be open if you have time to throw it.
All right, Dexter Jackson with that reception. They snuff out this running play, though.
This is another design quarterback keeper. Well, they're showing a lot of stuff. I don't think Appalachian's out of this game, Warren.
Well, their ability to score, I mean, they're averaging 31, but they also give up about the same amount as they score. So that's the biggest issue. The one thing that they can do by maintaining possession is it keeps Georgia Southern from marching with the ball.
Well, this is giving their defense a rest. The defense has been on the field the whole first quarter. A little shotgun formation.
2nd and 11. Williams complete. Near the first down, maybe doesn't quite get it, but it is complete into the hands of Zach Johnson out of Charlotte, North Carolina.
I think there was a mix-up in coverage there.
Well, you can kind of understand why there is a mix-up from time to time. You got so many guys coming at you out there.
You can't cover that receiver with an inside linebacker. That's asking an awful lot.
Stop made by John Mooring, their leader tackler. We've got a 3rd and 1 at the 15.
One of the few times quarterback's gone under center.
Atwater with the call and may have gotten the first down. I'm not seeing any indication of that. As a matter of fact, right now I'm seeing, 4th down, so we'll see if they decide to go for it, like Georgia Southern has done twice already in this game.
I know Coach Moore, he's going to go for it. He's got a player down out there for Appalachian. Can't get the number.
Official timeout at the moment. Back on the field as Jerry Moore says, well, I've seen them go for it a couple of times. They're going for it as well. 4th and 1.
They're not wasting any time. They tried to draw them offside. They're just going to play and go for it. Officials have to have a little conference here.
The clock says 1:58. I think you just want to make sure they get all the different numbers coordinated here. It's 4th down, 4th and 1. A chance for App State to maintain its possession here on this, their 2nd possession of the first quarter. Atwater's in the backfield. Williams talking to the lineman along the way.
Solid formation, 2 tight ends.
He's going to pass. And he's overthrowing outside. I don't know if that was a planned play or just something they saw when they got up at the line of scrimmage and decided to go to it. But Daniel Bettis had no chance to bring that one in. And it's going to be a surrender of possession there for the Mountaineers.
That's a real gamble. I don't think the quarterback, I don't think Williams is happy with that call.
Boy, Eric White was giving all kind of pressure there in that backfield there as well for Georgia Southern, and he just kind of looked like a heat-seeking missile headed the way there of Williams, and it's going to be Georgia Southern's ball now at the 16.
What you and I don't know is whether Williams changed the play.
Right.
He might have seen something out there he thought could score and took a chance.
Georgia Southern back with the offensive side of things now as they hold strong at their end.
Still got about 4 yards on that to Austin up over right guard. They've got to run him in there enough, Warren, to keep those linebackers so they can get outside, and that's the whole purpose of pounding it inside.
We've probably had 5 different guys at this point run the ball from different points of this backfield, and we'll see where they go this time as Williams brings them to the line, 2nd and 7. Now we go to the outside, and around that side is Lenon Jefferson.
Well, now let me tell you what Appalachian's done. They gave up on their 2 corner presses. They went to a 3 deep there. They had a middle safety, which they haven't had because they got burned with the pass. And now they were weak on a corner. They're a man short on a corner.
Well, you kind of choose your poison, don't you?
That's right.
You really come up to see if you can stuff that, or you run the risk of the 2 touchdown passes that you've given up.
Obviously, they feel they weren't coming. They went with a 3 deep. They have a middle safety in the last play.
First down gain. Here we are at the 33. Williams under a lot of pressure and eventually brought down by App State there for a loss. Monty Smith helping there out of Shelby, North Carolina for App State's defense.
I tell you, to the right, to Appalachian State right side of their defense has done a good job. They keep running to the left, and they're doing that for balance, but they haven't had much to the left here.
Jarrell Carter also in on that last defensive stop, the leading tackler in the Southern Conference. And we're looking at the end of the quarter here as the clock ticks away, and the Eagles of Georgia Southern flying high right now with a 14-point lead after the first 15 minutes. We will take a break. And keep in mind that you can turn to CSS throughout the college football season for extensive coverage of the ACC and the SEC, two of the top-rated football conferences in the nation. Catch 8 football replays each week to check out your favorite team and preview the competition. That's all on CSS, your source for Southeast sports. Meantime, if you've just tuned us in, you've missed a couple of touchdown passes. That's right, touchdown passes on the part of Georgia Southern as they march down the field on a couple of possessions to own a 14-0 lead here at the start of the second quarter. 2nd and 10 from the 33, and the dive is to Austin for a short gain.
Appalachian went to the 3 deep again. They're protecting that middle now for that post pattern.
Well, it's kind of punch, counter punch with the coaches, I guess, right? You know, one coach sees what the others, and then he adjusts, and then he says, well, if he goes back, we know what we'll do too.
It's those guys in this booth next door changing those things down to the coaches. It's a chess game. Both well-coached football teams, though. They both make good adjustments, and they're both good football teams.
3rd and 6, important for App State's defense right here to see if they can stop this drive before it gains any additional momentum. Williams looking to go left, finds some room, and then is brought down in a hard way there by number 56 for App State, Joe Suter, a junior out of Tarboro, North Carolina.
Yeah, Travis Sims had trouble holding his block right there. I think they had a little slant on inside.
Suter with a terrific play to bring up a 4th down situation. This will be the first punt we've seen today from Georgia Southern. They've gone for it the other 2 times.
And guess what? They got the wind at their back for a punt now. That's the good thing.
It's kind of worked out for him, hasn't it?
Sure
Dan
has.
Jordan, his longest is 55 this year, and with this breeze at his back, he'll let it go here with the ball spotted at about the 38. Not real high, going to be fielded at about the 20. Looking back for running room. Look at him come our way. Devon Folks, one of the most exciting guys in the Southern Conference, finally gets a chance to show some of his speed. He leads the nations in a couple of different receiving categories. We'll see if he gets untracked on that side before game's end.
He's one of the best kick returners in the history of the Southern Conference. His statistics bear that out. He's extremely dangerous back there.
41-yard punt, 22-yard return, and this is a little bit of a morale boost, I think, because App State was able to stop Georgia Southern there this time.
Flanker to the wide side here.
Williams over center, gives, and that ball's loose near the Georgia Southern bench. All the guys in blue are yelling that way. Nobody in a striped shirt is now saying it. And yes, in fact, Georgia Southern has recovered that fumble near midfield.
There were 3 Georgia Southern players. I think that was Atwater that fumbled.
Ball recovered right in front of the Georgia Southern bench. I know A.J. Bryant was in on the mix. Let's see who else was a part of this fumble recovery.
John Mooring.
Mooring with the recovery. And here is Georgia Southern with instant field position at the 48-yard line of App State.
They're back to the pressing corners, and what's the first thing that
Williams under pressure. And man, is he brought down hard in his own backfield by Marcus Morrell, 2nd in the conference in sacks.
He went back to 9 guys in the box there and put some pressure on with the blitz.
Defensive stop there for App State. 7-yard loss on the play, making it a 2nd and 17 with the ball now pushed back to the 45.
A tight end formation.
Flag on the play there. A little movement perhaps in the offensive set there. Things didn't really look in sync for Georgia Southern from the time they broke the huddle.
It's like Chris Mote moved.
First penalty of the game, though, that we've seen here early in the second quarter.
71 offense.
Start on
5-yard penalty. Still
offensive line
down
there for Georgia Southern, and that'll be another 5 yards. That's going to create an even deeper hole for these Eagles, as that ball now will be at the 40-yard line and about a 22 yards to go for a first down.
That's not option offense distances with those sticks right now. Now they backed off. They're gonna play pass defense here.
2nd and 22. Williams kind of floats it outside there, and gets it into the hands of number 19. And that's P.J. Cantrell. They got to wrap him up here, huh, Walt?
Well, out in the open field, number 9's on an island out there. That's a pretty good move offensively.
The stick eventually there by number 8, Jeremy Wiggins. And it's a 3rd and 12 now after that game. 3rd and 12, ball at the 50. Williams back to pass again. Complete to number 85, and he gets inside for the first down. Teddy Kraft, and he's a guy that, boy, they want to get the ball to him as many times as they can.
Just run a little curl in the inside in the open seam. We're seeing exactly the opposite of what we expected. The passing success is with Georgia Southern.
But their passing success, Walt, wouldn't be so good if they didn't have to honor that run all the time, right?
They fear that option so much.
1st and 10, ball at the 36. Austin trying to bull his way there to the 35-yard line. Eventually stopped there by West. West father is the D-line coach at Clemson, and he's playing there at App State in Boone.
Well, Morrell's brother played for the Arizona Cardinals in the NFL, and he's considered one of the best defensive linemen to play at Appalachian State in a long time.
2nd and 9, App State trying to hold Georgia Southern off on yet another long drive. Williams not liking exactly the defensive scheme that he sees across the way. He calls timeout for Georgia Southern. It's a 14-0 lead. Georgia Southern's kind of been in charge here since we started this game at high noon. We'll come back to see if App State can keep them off the board. Back at Paulson Stadium this afternoon. Homecoming day it is here for Georgia Southern as they take on App State. Chaz Williams at this point, 4 of 5 passing for 82 yards and a couple of touchdowns today. And he's not the quarterback named Williams we thought would have such an effective day passing. This time, Williams keeps it. And he's got the first down and more down to the 20-yard line. Chaz Williams, the Southern Conference Player of the Year in 2002, missed 3 games with injuries last year. But they say they're starting to see him right now just where he was maybe in 2002.
He's reading the defenses very well. He read that perfectly, cut up in the seam. Could change the direction.
First down, 10 at the 20. Right up the middle to Austin.
That last run looked like he was doing the slalom, zigzagging in and out, going down the ski slope.
Well, Williams, you know, he's 207, 5'11", but he's tough to get a handle on. He really's got some very shifty feet.
And strong legs. He breaks a lot of tackles.
Very little game for Austin there, maybe about a yard. We'll call it 2nd and 9, ball at the 19-yard line. Georgia Southern threatening to go up 3 touchdowns here in this one. Williams looking to his right, can't find much room, and he is stopped in his own backfield there. Number 44, Marcus Merle, with the stop there, and the defensive end for App State getting credit for that stop.
He's one of the good ones in a long line of defensive linemen at Appalachian State. And as I mentioned earlier, his brother played in the NFL for the Arizona Cardinals. That's a good football family.
3rd and 11. Here we are now. Walt, ball at the 21. Let's see if we're in 2-down territory for Mike Sewak's squad here or not.
I think if he gets 6 or 7, then we're in 4-down territory.
Williams looking to pass. Ball is loose and now kicked towards the sideline. Is it recovered in time or did it just bounce out of bounds? Let's see what the Zebras figured out here as they get over there near that far sideline in front of the App State bench.
Depends on where his foot was when he scooped that ball up.
Williams kind of pumped. Ball came loose.
The ball was on the line.
Right on the line, isn't it?
That looked like it was out of bounds on the line. You know, some of the Big Ten, I think the Big Ten's experimenting with the
the replay and such.
Yeah, the replay challenges. Yeah.
Ball's going to be ruled to have bounced out of bounds, and that'll be a 4th down from that point for Georgia Southern.
Well, with the wind at your back, that's a 47-yard field goal, but I think you got a legitimate chance.
Jonathan Dudley, his longest is 41 this year.
That wind should help him. It's a tough angle from that left hash mark.
Franklin County, Georgia's Jonathan Dudley with the kick. It's up and it's good from 47 yards, and Georgia Southern adds 3 more points to the board.
You know, I was going to say, you got to hook that ball. It looks like one of your drives, Warren. They hooked that from right to left, right through the uprights.
One of mine that are intentionally hit that way or accidentally hit that way?
I saw you play a few weeks ago.
We've got a 17-0 lead. Georgia Southern seeming to go up and down the field when they want to. Come back and see if App State can do anything to count. And welcome back, everybody. The homecoming crowd here at Paulson Stadium now with 9 minutes left in the second quarter, enjoying Georgia Southern's advantage. We're coming to you from Statesboro, Georgia here. Warren Pepper, Walt Nanzak, and Ted Byrne along here with this broadcast from CSS. Here's Dexter Jackson bringing it out for App State. Boy, is he upended inside the 20-yard line. Ball may be marked about the 16, but flying down there to really deliver the hit, John Mooring.
Wow, that was a great hit.
8:56 remaining in the second quarter, and App State, though they did get their second possession down inside the 20, has really had a little bit of problem. This is going to be our first look at Williams now trying to throw against the wind.
Right. I think he'll be more accurate, to be honest with you. He's got a strong arm. He doesn't need the help of the wind. Last
week, in 45 attempts, he only had 5 incompletions. Today, he was incomplete 5 of his first 8. He's under pressure and trying to get outside. Gets close to the first down stick there on the far sideline.
That outside contain over there broke down for Georgia Southern. He started to pursue. I think he thought he was going to throw the ball and went inside on the pass rush.
Dudley with a field goal moments ago there for Georgia Southern. 47 yards. I mentioned that was his career long. That's also the longest field goal in the conference this year.
Devon Falks had 14 catches last week against Furman. He's had 1 today.
On the right side, second down, and very close to first down mark there. And they're going to say he did get enough, and it'll be a first down for App State here with just a little over 8 minutes remaining in the second quarter.
Now, if you can't get to the quarterback, you got to get those arms up and make him throw over your hands and throw a floater.
I don't think sometimes that maybe Georgia Southern's defense always gets as much credit because there's so much conversation about their offense, Walt.
Right,
but
exactly.
They're giving this offensive team of App State today an awful lot of trouble.
Well, they're a little undersized, but they're quick and they're aggressive.
Williams looking outside, trying to get it to Folks, but before he could catch it, he'd already stepped out of bounds. That ball against the wind looked to me like it kind of ballooned a bit, huh?
It ballooned on him, and he got nailed back there as well. I think he was throwing off his heels.
Oh, wow. He was really leveled there by Derek Butler as soon as he released the ball.
Going to have sore ribs after that one. He really got hit.
That makes 2nd and 10 now. Ball at the 27.
Appalachian's got 3 wide receivers out here to the near side. Only 2 defenders out there. They're throwing that bubble screen.
Quickly out to Folks, and he was immediately smothered.
Watching their game last week with Furman, they threw that bubble screen with great success last week. That's the first time they've thrown it tonight or this afternoon.
3rd and about 11 now. for App State. They're just really having trouble in the first half of this game sustaining any offense. They've had one drive that got to about the 16, and they went for it on 4th down. Now we're 3rd and 11, the ball at 26-yard line, and again, they are wide spread.
Looks like a playground out there.
Yeah. I mean, there's 5 to 7 yards between each offensive person along that line. And there is a huge hole. They're trying to lob it to Folks in the middle. It's a jump ball, and it comes down incomplete as both Folks and the defender there, number 12 for Georgia Southern, that's Michael Thompson, both wrestling for that ball. Make that 13. I'm sorry to A.J. Bryant's parents for misidentifying that young player at the defensive end, and that's going to create a punting situation for App State.
Again, a heavy rush thrown off his heels into a strong wind. That ball just floated up there and gave the defensive back a chance to intercept it. Because he was beat if you don't have the wind holding that ball up.
Wes Herlocker back to punt at about the 16-yard line. Ball floating and caught near 42-yard line. Outside, number 85 for Georgia Southern is Teddy Kraft. And he has a terrific return inside the 40-yard line. We're going to take a quick timeout. Georgia Southern threatening to head to the end zone again. We've got a little over 7 minutes remaining in the second quarter. We'll continue right after this. Welcome back to Statesboro, Georgia. Sports Night's Army of Experts visits the crew this week to bring you the inside news on the NASCAR chase for the Nextel Cup, plus all things football with updates on recruiting, college matchups, and the NFL season. Catch Sports Night live each weekday at 6 and 11 only on CSS, your source for Southeast sports. In the meantime, it's 1st and 10 at the 35, and it's a 17-0 lead right now. Georgia Southern enjoying this cushion over App State, and they've really done, it seems, what they've wanted to do offensively most of the ball game.
If they push this drive in, Warren, it's going to be tough for Appalachian to come back.
Austin with a big push there along that front line, and he's inside the 30-yard line before he's finally wrestled down.
His legs look like pistons driving up and down.
Jermaine Austin, 5'8", 205 out of Darien, Georgia, and the Conference Player of the Year just a year ago. I mean, it's going to take more than one. I mean, you better bring some help here.
Pull that ball. Well, he had both hands. He had it wrapped.
Clock ticking to about the 6.5-minute mark here of the second quarter. 2nd and 3 after Austin's 7-yard gain. Here's the pitch, and again, it's tossed, and man, that's about the 3rd time today they have had problems there. And let's go down to Ted Byrne here for a quick moment. Ted?
Warren, you know, superstition plays a great bit of part of college football. Appalachian State today is wearing black pants. This is the first time since 1998 that they're wearing black pants on the road. They're hoping that that will break a string of being outscored in the first half, 72-7 on the road.
Well, that defense in mourning a bit right now as they're down 17 inside 6 minutes, and they've been on the field most of the first half.
Well, they're definitely in 4-down territory here. I'm sure Coach Seawack's going to go for this. It looks like it's about a foot short, maybe 2 feet short.
Official timeout, and they're going to try to get a good measurement on this as it's very close to being a first if it's not already, and they'll bring the chains out and see how it looks. You know, Georgia Southern, I mentioned, they're already 4-0 in the league. And, you know, we're barely half a dozen games into the season, it seems, and they've got that opening loss that they suffered to Georgia. And they actually played. I don't know how many folk got a chance to see that game around the Southeast early, and it's just going to be a little bit short here for the first down. But then they've scored 84 against Johnson C. Smith, 58 here against Wofford, 51 at Chattanooga, 48 against Elon, 38 at Western a week ago.
They're doing a little payback for last year, losing some of these games. And they're at the Citadel next week, and that's another payback week for them.
You're right, and you make a point because they were 7-4 last year, and a lot of folks were mumbling around town, what's going on with this program? What's going on with this team? Nope. 7-4 for a lot of programs would be okay.
Yes, and they missed the playoffs for the first time in a long time.
Well, they've come back maybe with a statement in mind. Here we are, 4th and 1. This is the 3rd time they've gone for 4th down today. And Chaz Williams keeps it and gets it.
I don't think they were going to throw the ball again on 4th down like they did down here at the other end. That line, we call that in the business wedge blocking. They just got heads to hips. And
today he's 4 for 5, Chaz Williams, with 2 touchdowns, 85 yards. And you're saying, are we talking about the right Williams? Because we knew coming in, Reggie Williams had the big arm and the big passing numbers. Here's Chaz Williams looking again, and all alone in the end zone, Georgia Southern with Teddy Kraft bringing it in. Touchdown, Eagles.
And I'm shocked on that one, Warren. Jeremy Wiggins got turned around and got beat one-on-one.
3rd touchdown pass of the afternoon for Chaz Williams.
Wiggins is not happy with himself. He's a good football player. He just got beat on that pattern.
And this is on the money, and Kraft is all alone.
There's Jeremy chasing him. I think he was looking into the backfield.
For Kraft, it's the 5th straight game he's caught a touchdown pass, and that is a new school record. The point after is good, and it's 24-0 Georgia Southern over App State in a game that I think a lot of us thought coming in would be A, high scoring, and B, kind of close. Georgia Southern's come out and just taken control here, Walt.
Sometimes when you anticipate a shootout like this, you figure both teams are going to do it, and then I think, well, maybe this is going to be a 10-7 game, and everybody's going to be disappointed. But the scoring for Georgia Southern's kept their end of the bargain. Appalachian has really throttled down that passing game of Appalachian State.
Well, I really do believe that Georgia Southern's defense, and I kind of talked about this a moment ago, I think they felt coming in, all right, we're going to, there's been a lot of talk, a lot of hype about App State and what they did offensively last week against Furman. Let's just kind of show some folks around the league exactly what kind of defense we do have. Downstairs to Ted Byrne.
Warren, you've talked about the swapping in roles here today, and yes, Georgia Southern is known for their running, but you'd be surprised if you looked at the stats, you would see Georgia Southern is 70% in their passing when they pass for touchdowns. So they don't pass often, but when they do, it counts.
Thanks, Ted. They have certainly been efficient in that department today. I mean, 3 touchdown passes for Chaz Williams, and he continues to really shine in his senior year.
Well, they've had to adjust a lot of different offenses. When they opened the season at Georgia, they had to play defense against the pass and the run, and they were competitive except for a few big plays. And in the Southern Conference now, they look like they're the quickest, most aggressive team I've seen.
Here's Dexter Jackson trying to pick his way through, and he does get it out to about the 25-yard line for App State, and that's the field position now that Reggie Williams and his Mountaineer offense will enjoy as they head out here inside 5 minutes left in the second quarter.
I'd like to see the time of possession here pretty soon. I'm not sure what it is, but exactly what it is, but it's significant.
Williams to this point, and we're talking Richie Williams now, the quarterback for App State, 5 of 12, no touchdowns, 59 yards passing to this point, and that's coming off 413 yards last week against Furman. Williams looking down the right side, trying to get folks who just can't get any space at all. Very tightly covered along that far sideline there by Terrence McBride.
I think McBride gave them a little extra cushion because they feel they've got to stop the pass now. With the score being what it is, Appalachian's probably going to not have enough patience to try to run the ball much.
Well, last week, Furman led, I think it was 7-3 at halftime in that game against App State, and App State figured out some things during intermission. They're going to have a whole lot to figure out here today because they've had very limited success moving this ball either way, but predominantly with what they really do well is through the air.
You know what a sandwich is? They just had one out there. That receiver was in the middle of that sandwich. He got hit by both sides.
This Georgia Southern defense right now gesturing to this homecoming crowd to get on its feet and really appreciate what they're getting ready to do, because they said it's a 3rd down long We're getting ready to stuff them again, according to the folks on the blue jerseys. And let's see if Williams can find Folks or one of his other receivers to get this first down converted.
Folks is out to the right. He's got a slot out there as well.
He's looking right, pumps it once, gets a little bit of space, but there's nobody open downfield, and that's the credit to the defensive secondary for Georgia Southern, along with the heavy push along that offensive line.
Georgia Southern had an outside blitz, and he just ran right by Williams.
The defense holds punting units onto the field, and App State's going to be forced to give this ball up once again. He just doesn't have anybody to get it to, does he?
McBride, I think that was McBride on the blitz coming off the corner that forced him to go outside of him.
So Wes Herlocker will come on the field again and kick for App State. This one off the side of his foot. Bounces about midfield, and now it's inside the 40. They're just going to back off and touch that one down at about the 37 or 8 yard line. And that is where Georgia Southern will have it with just under 4 minutes remaining in the half. I don't think what you're going to see here is somebody just kind of sit on it. I believe they're going to see if they can punch one more in before the clock elapses.
They're going to run their offense, and today it's been the play calling's been excellent. They've mixed the pass and the run, and they're not predictable today.
So Chaz Williams will see if he can get these Eagles into the end zone yet again here inside 4 minutes. So far, Austin has carried the ball, as he does right there, for 45 yards, and that's his 14th carry of the first half.
That's another purpose call. They keep banging them in there, but that's what's causing them to Appalachian to break down on the corners and in the secondary. They seem too preoccupied with Austin. They're bunching a lot of people inside defensively.
That'll be a short gain, maybe a couple they'll call it, and then it'll be 2nd and 8 here for Georgia Southern. Ball marked at about the 41 yard line.
Warren, there's no middle safety again.
And they're going deep.
Yep.
All alone off the fingertips there. Oh, he just couldn't bring it in. Number 4, Jason Foster.
They had the right play called. That defense was walked up. Watch this, and I'll tell you what, they right on his fingertips.
Well, they run that dive, so you got to honor that, and then they run something just streaking down the right side.
I think they're doing a good job. I don't know if I'd like to find out from Ted down there if he can steal some information from that sideline and whether he's calling automatics when there's no free safety.
That gives us 3rd and 8. Ball at the 39 here, and we'll see exactly what they try this time. There's going to be a Williams dropping back to pass. He's going to swing it out to Austin on the left side. Picks his way past the first couple of defenders, but then he's brought down at the 40-yard line.
That's a little screen.
And a late flag flown in by the referee after the play was over.
I think that was a face mask that nobody saw but the referee, and he's coming from a long way off.
Gene Hartley comes in there, and Georgia Southern is acting like they believe that's against App State. App State's pleading its case there.
Looked like an inadvertent face mask. It wasn't a personal foul. I think it could be a 5-yard penalty and first down.
5-yard face mask. Number 44, defense. 5-yard penalty. Still 3rd down.
Oh, it's not an automatic first?
Not maybe if it's inadvertent. There it is right there. It's definitely hand on the front there. And that's going to bring it down closer to the 1st yard marker, but not still enough. It's 3rd down still, though.
That's 3rd down and short, and that's in Georgia Southern's wheelhouse right now.
Yeah, I think they just live for these moments right here, because it does open up an awful lot of options. Do you just kind of stick it in Austin's gut and let him pop it through the middle for something sizable? Or do you let Williams kind of swing it out here to one of these mini running backs?
I think I'll do a safe running play, because they got 2 chances to make a couple yards.
Well, they give it to T.J. Anderson, and mission accomplished, and he takes it around that left side for the first.
Just a short misdirection play.
We've got inside 3 minutes now. The clock at 2:45, and Georgia Southern with that 3rd down conversion now, maintaining possession and hoping to stick another score on the board here for this homecoming crowd here this afternoon at Paulson Stadium.
Double slot.
Austin churning and picking up sizable yardage, maybe 5 or 6 yards, maybe even more by the time they mark the forward progress.
It looked like Chaz changed that play right there, and it's a good choice. He saw something in the defense where you can get 5 yards, and coaches, he's coached, if you see that on first down, you take it.
There's Austin. Boy, he is just a powerful, powerful runner, averaging 10.6 per carry coming into this game. 2nd and 4 at the 45. They're just going to give you a steady diet of him right now, I think.
Well, they're going to wear that defense down. That defense has been on the field an awful lot today. Well, they've got time. I don't know how many timeouts Georgia Southern has left. I think they have 2 left.
They're going to stop the clock and get an official measurement here to see if, in fact, they've gotten the first already or if it's going to be 3rd and short. They're going to go ahead and say it is definitely first down with 1:39 remaining. Let's see if they take a couple of shots downfield. The passing has been effective without question on the heels of 3 touchdown passes to this point.
Yeah,
new center coming in.
Lance Wayne went out.
Suarez now with the center exchange to Williams. Williams looking for a receiver. The pass is complete, but he was out of bounds on the reception there, so they'll bring it back, and T.J. Anderson very closely guarded there along the way.
There wasn't much there. They had that pretty well covered. He had nothing to run. He couldn't. There was no running lane for him to break that out.
Along the sidelines, he is one of the guys that actually helps us. He's part of the crew today. Reed, he works here at Georgia Southern. Reed Smith. You see the red hat. He's known as the Red Hat because he helps with the timeouts and coordinating with the officials, and we hope he's going to be okay. He just took one for the team. Williams, meanwhile, 1.5 minutes over the outstretched hands of Kraft, and that falls incomplete as we head for the end of the 2nd quarter. You okay, Reed? Okay. All right. Was his hat bent like that before? Okay, I'm not sure he had that crease in it beforehand or not. I hope he's going to be all right.
Warren, if you notice the last 2 plays, Appalachian State had at least 4 to 5 players walking back to position with their hands on their hips.
They're dragging.
And you know what that indicates? They're tired. And they're used to playing on artificial turf, and this is grass. And
3rd and 10. Ball at the 41. Williams looking across the middle. Ball is complete, and it's complete into the arms of number 19 for Georgia Southern. That is P.J. Cantrell. First down, Georgia Southern. We're at 1:14. There's no question they're trying to stick another 7, if not 3, on the board.
There's a one-man pattern, a little curl out there. One thing you notice, Warren, when you watch other games on television, how many times a guy curls 2 yards short of the first down sticks? That receiver went 2 yards deep beyond the first down stick
back
and came back and made sure he had the first down if the ball's thrown on the money.
We're inside a minute. The clock is ticking at the 52nd and counting mark. 2nd and 7 at the 23. Whistle on the field there by the lines. There's going to be a timeout there for Georgia Southern. They've got 43. They want to manage this as best they can with the timeouts remaining, and they'd like to go ahead and talk right now, I would think, about exactly what they want to do the next couple of plays.
Yeah, they might call 2 plays in the huddle right now to save time, have 2 plays ready to go, unless they move the sticks where it's stopped for a first down.
It's homecoming here this afternoon at Paulson Stadium here in Statesboro, Georgia. We'll be talking with Georgia Southern Athletic Director Sam Baker here at halftime. We'll also be hearing from the AD at App State, Rochelle Laney, and Ted Byrne will be talking with Athletic Director Laney. I'll be talking with Sam Baker here in our broadcast position up top in the press box. So if you want to find out more about both those schools and what's going on in those respective campuses athletically, we'll invite you to those conversations here at halftime.
Warren, I'd like to point something out here. There's a projected rule change. It hasn't happened, but it's being discussed now by the NCAA Rules Committee to go more to the pro rule that you do not stop the clock on a first down in college football. I'm not sure where that stands, whether it's going to pass or not, but it is being discussed, and it makes a dramatic effect on games timeouts late in the game.
Williams has had a phenomenal first half here. 7 for 11, 121 yards, 3 touchdowns. He may not be finished with 43 seconds left.
It's a world of time.
Here's the give to Austin. He tries to spin away and just not released. Number 9 there, William Mayfield, keeps him at about the 20-yard line. The clock continues to tick. Maybe a couple more plays here if they can get one out of bounds or incomplete.
They called 2 in the huddle. They were ready to go in the second play.
Williams looking at the corner of the end zone. Stopped short of the end zone and did not get in is T.J. Anderson. Looked like he wanted to, instead of diving in, he wanted to kind of just check himself for the defender to make a play. Then he would go around him, but the defender was able to get him out of bounds.
Great throw, great catch, great coverage.
18 seconds remaining. There's Anderson, and he doesn't get in. The official's right there. We've got 18 seconds left. Williams has got him back at the line, and the ball's at the 1.
Spike the ball and get in the huddle.
He's going to take it right in, and it looks like the teammates want to say touchdown, but nobody with a striped shirt is indicating that. Now it does. Touchdown, Georgia Southern, with 12 seconds remaining in the half. And Chaz Williams, oh, by the way, I guess he says, well, I've got 3 touchdowns passing. Let me just kind of sneak this one in. You thought they might spike it and set up?
Yeah, I was afraid if they don't have any timeouts left, he doesn't get in there. They don't have time to line up and run another play. If he spikes the ball, they got time to run another play.
Williams is able to get it in. And on hand for the point after is Jonathan Dudley. 30-0 right now. A team that averages 51 points a game is right on target. Dudley up, and the ball hits the right post. No good. 30-0. Another drive by Georgia Southern that covers this time 63 yards, taking just 3:44 off the clock and leaving 12 seconds on the clock for App State before halftime.
Warren, look at the Appalachian walking off the field over there. They're tired. Look at that.
Well, that defense has definitely been out there for the majority of the first 2 quarters.
They're definitely dragging. Their shirts are out. They're taking their hats off. They're walking very slow.
Chaz Williams, called the heart and soul of this team. 8 for 12 today, throwing the ball. 3 touchdowns passing. He's also got 1 now rushing after that 1-yard dive. He's had a pretty good afternoon, and we're just 2 quarters done.
What are the odds about a swivel kick here?
Well, against the breeze, they're with the breeze this time,
they
right?
Kick it deep, yeah, but you don't want to give the ball to Falks. You want to kick it maybe to the hashes at around the 30 or 25.
Georgia Southern, to this point, has had the ball more than 22.5 minutes of the 30 in the first half. I mean, that's a serious, some coaches don't get all caught up in that whole time of possession thing if you're effective on the times that you have it,
That's right.
But when you're effective and you consume the clock, that's exactly why you're 30.
When you cross that last line, that's effective. Well, you were right, Warren. They kicked it deep into the end zone, not taking any chances of something happening on the short kick.
So, App State will get one more chance to touch it here. Just 12 seconds remaining, all things considered, there in the second quarter here, just before halftime. But they really haven't had a lot of time to do much with it to begin with today because Georgia Southern's offense has so dominated this game.
It looks like they're going to take a knee. They've got a tailback
safety guy there.
Yeah, 12 yards, 15 yards deep in case there's a fumble.
So that'll do it for the first half. Georgia Southern averaging 50 points a game. Well, they're pretty much on target. They've already scored 30 in the first 2 quarters behind a terrific job by Chaz Williams. As they head to the locker room on that far side, Walt, you've been in those locker rooms before. I don't know how many times you were down 30-0 or not, but
well,
what do you
once or
tell
twice.
those guys? Yeah.
Well, what they have to do to get back in the game, I mean, they've got to shore up the defense. They've got to get them off the field. They've got to control the ball a little more offensively. They got to pass protect better. And when they give those huge gaps and Georgia Southern penetrates, that's just not. They have got to run some time off the clock and still try to get in the end zone.
Well, we've got a 30-0 lead by Georgia Southern, and you look at this very disconsolate App State team kind of walking up the hill here on the far sideline as they head to the locker room, knowing they really have their work cut out for them headed into the second half of play. We'll take a break, come back with some halftime conversations for you here. Hope you'll join us here live from Statesboro. Georgia Southern in control right now, 30-0 over App State. About to begin the second half, and it has been all Georgia Southern to this point. A key moment in that first half, I think, is when on a fourth down situation for App State, with the game still very much just a touchdown or just 2 touchdowns, they went for it at the 16-yard line, and an incomplete pass prevented them from progressing on down into the end zone. And I think that was a huge moment for App State from a momentum standpoint when they had a chance there to put some points on the board, and they came away empty. They will get the ball to start the second half and set to return this kick in the opening third quarter. Deep, you've got Devon Folks, number 22, and Dexter Jackson, number 2. Folks has really been held in check today. The wide receiver, highly touted, leading the nation in receptions, coming in, and he's also one of the top all-time leader in career punt returns, closing in on the Southern Conference mark there, but that prevents him from doing anything when that ball's kicked out of the end zone.
No chance. That ball wasn't only out of the end zone, it was 10 yards deep out of the end zone. That wind is still blowing strong.
And it's been that way since the opening moments of this game, and it's a sun-splashed Saturday afternoon homecoming here at Statesboro. They haven't listed the crowd yet, but capacity here is 18,000, and it's hard to say because so many people watch from the banks. Here we are, Richie Williams.
You know, Warren, they say the first series of the second half, and I believe that as a coach, is the most important series of a game when you're behind.
Well, it looked like a very definite approach there as they tried to not run it with Atwater, but to try to swing him out on the opening play here in the second half, and that falls incomplete as well.
And Georgia Southern had it read perfectly anyway, but this is a key series. They've got to make a few first downs because they'll be punting into the wind and give Georgia Southern great field position again, and they just can't let that happen if they're going to get back in this ball game at all.
Williams, 2nd and 10, ball at the 20. That ball was tipped at near the line of scrimmage, and it was number 98 there for Georgia Southern who was able to get a hand on it. And we've heard his name once or twice already today, Eric Hadley, because not only has he played defense all afternoon, but he caught the first touchdown pass as he was inserted as a kind of a tight end in a fourth down situation on the opening sequence of the game.
He was in Williams' face on that throw, too. I mean, that's tough to throw when you're on your heels falling backwards.
3rd and 10. And here's that wide spread from sideline to sideline that we've seen a couple of times already from App State.
Oh, my.
Huge rush.
Contained, bro.
Williams looking downfield. Ball's underthrown and into the arms of Lewis Barr, who makes the interception near midfield.
Throwing into the wind that deep. It's the worst thing that could happen to Appalachian.
Richie Williams rolling to his left, looking for some help. And that ball just floats up well short of the intended receiver, and Lewis Barr is able to bring it in.
I think Richie Williams could have run for the first down there, Warren. They had contained, was broken down. He got outside on the corner, but he thought he had a big play. But that wind had held that ball up.
Georgia Southern will start at the 49-yard line. The give to Austin. He's looking to break through. He goes in the 30. Brought down at the 24-5-yard line, and a huge gain by the fullback for Georgia Southern.
He broke at least 3 tackles on that run.
His longest run this year has been 23 yards. And he always seems to find a way to break away when you least expect it. Look at it.
Little arm tackling out there. You can't bring him down arm tackling. You got to put a helmet on him.
So there goes Austin. He came in, as we mentioned earlier, averaging over 10 yards a carry this year. And give to Austin again, right up the middle.
Warren, they're just wearing them down. That offensive line's coming off the ball. They've replaced that tackle that they lost. They certainly have.
Earlier this year, and this gives you an idea, I think, of just the kind of coach, disciplinarian, and the guy that wants to really send messages. Coach Sewak sat Austin for being late for a curfew. Suspended him for a game.
He's an old school coach, and they usually get results.
There's Austin again, fighting his way for even additional yardage. He's not quite to the 10-yard line.
And if Coach Sewak's wife is listening to this, I don't mean old coach. I mean old coach philosophy.
I understand. Austin, earlier this year, this was against Chattanooga, had over 160 on this day, and they run that little quick hitter up the middle, and he's got the powerful legs. Right now, he's got over 100 yards here early in the third quarter on 21 carries. 1st and 10 from the 12. Austin again. They're giving him a steady diet of Austin here the last 3 or 4 plays.
Now. Well, he's got his 100 yards.
He doesn't get any cheap ones, does he?
Yeah, you don't get a good shot. I mean, he's short, he's stocky, he's strong, he's quick.
Player of the year a year ago out of Darien, Georgia. .22 rushes so far for 103 yards. He's yet to get into the end zone. But if he keeps this up, he will. And here's the pitch to the outside. Trying to fight against containment. Finally brought down against the 5-yard line. Georgia Southern knocking again. Thanks to the nice effort there by number 31. That's Lennon Jefferson.
He spun out of that tackle and got an extra 3 or 4 yards right here. Great effort.
Austin already with his third 100-plus yard performance of the year, and we're still early in the third quarter here.
And we're in 4-down territory. 3rd and 2. I don't think they'll be kicking a field goal. They're going to get the first down if they can.
There's Chaz Williams, who walks in untouched for yet another touchdown. And Georgia Southern seizes the moment after the interception to march 50 yards for the touchdown.
You see everybody converge on Austin there?
And he's now run a couple and thrown a couple more.
Everybody's inside.
What a day Chaz Williams is having.
Tell you what, he's having a great day. But he's a consistently good quarterback. When he's injury-free, he really can run a football club. He can make things happen for you.
The point after is good. 49 yards. They go in 6 plays. And yet another touchdown added. 37-0. Georgia Southern leads App State. Back in just a moment. Everybody, Georgia Southern continuing to roll here over App State. 37-0. Mike Sewak trying to keep this thing rolling. Ted Byrne, you're spent quite a bit of time in this South Georgia area. Just how serious and loud were the whispers last year when this team was 7-4?
Well, you know, for a 7-4 year for Georgia Southern fans is horrible. If the season isn't 15 games long, they don't know what to do. Mike Sewak made a dedication this summer to really get everybody focused, and he also exemplified that because every day he was in the weight room with the players working out. He's lost over 60 pounds since last year, and he's rededicated himself to getting in shape, and certainly the team has too, and they all have come out with a tremendous focus. And it was good because they would see each other passing each other in and out of the weight room. And I think, Walt, you were trying to get together with Mike yesterday, and he was busy in the weight room.
Yeah, I had a kind of an appointment with him, and he was in the weight room working out, and I waited for him. He's always nice to interview, easy to talk to, and a great background.
Well, a new sense of purpose, a new wardrobe, I guess, as well for Mike Sewak.
I'd like to have the money he spent on clothes.
Well, he's got a new attitude there, and I think you're right, Ted. I think that is for nothing else. That kind of don't just hear what I say, watch what I do, and I'm going to show this crowd that we all need to get a little more serious around here. After their opening loss to Georgia, they've rolled off 5 consecutive wins. They're averaging over 50 points a game. In the meantime, Richie Williams has got to figure out something that he's been unable to figure out in that secondary most of the afternoon. There he goes to the ground on a faked exchange that he gets tangled up in one of his teammates. He's just really had some problems all around this afternoon.
I think he stepped on the guard's foot. The guard's pulling right there. Number 78 bumped his foot.
Yep. Little scroll there, and he kind of hooking up there with their legs. And now the folks here are getting a little louder on a 3rd and 12 with a ball on 18. I will tell you this, the Georgia Southern fans, they smell blood in the water. They start really circling.
You don't want to be in 3rd and long, facing a stiff wind. Down 37 points.
Reggie Williams with the quarterback keep, and he is really hammered to the ground there by number 9, and that is Rico Zachary of Georgia Southern, who came up from that secondary to deliver the hit. So it'll be another punting situation. And that's kind of been a too often viewed formation for App State this afternoon. Wes Herlocker back, and he's going to receive this inside his 10. He may be close to the 5 or 6 yard line by the time he kicks this.
I think Georgia Southern might go after this ball. There's no reason to, because it's going to be a short kick into that wind.
Into the wind.
They're going after it.
And it is tipped.
And it tipped. And it took a Georgia Southern bounce.
That ball kicked back from the 25-yard line. It's going to be set at about the 22 or 3. And that's where Georgia Southern starts this drive.
Would you like to have that field position right now? I mean, you don't get the ball in the 22 very often after a punt.
Well, you know, you're trying to be positive here and trying to think of some good things. And I guess the only good thing I can think of right now is that you might get it back quicker than you would have if you had been down here. There is a new quarterback into the game. And for Georgia Southern, that's Trey Hunter, who's been primarily a backup most of this year and did have a good game earlier this year. And now he is on for the first time today.
No, that's Trey Elder, Warren. Too many Treys out there.
Terrell Carter makes the stop for Appalachian. Number 2.
Here we go.
We had a little silence there. Warren and I were comparing the notes here.
All right, we've got 2nd and 8. Hunter trying to kind of come on now in relief a bit for Chaz Williams, who's had just a phenomenal day. And I don't know that we're done with him for the day. It is a 37-0, but just to give you an idea why he's kind of going to get a break, he's 8 for 12 throwing the ball, 140 yards, 3 touchdowns, 14 carries, 11 yards, 2 touchdowns rushing. He's just had a phenomenal afternoon. And Coach Seawalk says, you know, have a seat, son. Let's see if we can get Trey Hunter a little time. Hunter with the pitch to the outside. That ball nearly lost after 4 or 5 steps of it being carried.
You know, Warren, yesterday when I talked to Coach Mike Seawack, he said, you know, Trey Hunter needs some work. Keep his timing, keep his focus in case Chaz gets nicked a little bit. So I think this is a good opportunity for Trey to get the feeling, get his timing back with the option, get his timing right on the rides inside on this option offense.
Justin Brown there with the carry, and that's going to present a field goal situation here on the 4th down. And very long, so they're going to go ahead and try to kick this field goal by Jonathan Dudley. The ball set, it's going to be what? We'll 42. Call it about the 27, 40, 37 yard line
42,
or so?
I think 42. No, you're right, 42. And he
that was actually tipped a bit at the line of scrimmage and still had enough to get over. And it's a field goal added to the total of 40 now for Georgia Southern.
When things go well, they go real well.
Miss a triple header of college football action next Saturday on CSS, starting with a Big Ten matchup between Indiana and Ohio State at noon. Then the UAB Blazers, who have posted impressive victories over teams from the SEC and the Big 12, take on Conference USA foe Tulane live at 3:30. And then that's followed by a matchup between Southern Conference powerhouse Furman and Elon at 7. Don't miss it. Georgia Southern now with 40 points, the most ever scored against App State. And that ball again booming into the back of the end zone. And App State will still try to figure this thing out.
That ball hit the crossbar, bounced straight up in the air.
Well, up 40 like this, is it just a natural now, a lessening of intensity on the defensive side? Or do a certain amount of guys start thinking, wait, we want to go ahead and solidify this shutout. Let's not let up. What's the thinking?
Well, you substitute by position. You don't wholesale substitute. You keep key people out there that are calling the defenses, calling the secondary for a while. But you give some of your second-team players a chance to play a little bit, but you don't want to lose momentum and say we've got it yet, because things can happen, and he almost broke loose right there.
Well, we are seeing some new guys on the field right now. Trey Elder, the quarterback, back up now. Richie Williams sat down after a very tough afternoon, and the freshman Elder, and he is also giving it Kevin Richardson there, a backup, a freshman who gets good running room there downfield for App State.
There's some clean shirts out there for Georgia Southern. I've got to see how many of them there are, but that's not the entire starting defense.
That goes to Richardson again, as a couple of freshmen are working in that backfield right now as App State tries to figure out just exactly how to move the ball downfield a little more effectively than they've been able to do most of the day.
You wonder whether Chaz Williams is done for the day. He's standing down in the far end of the team bench on the left down there with his hat off, and doesn't appear to be looking like he's going back in the game unless something changes dramatically here.
Here's Elder, he as well as Williams, both coming out of South Carolina's high school football program, and that pass ruled complete. Yes, it is going to be complete. It was a well thrown and caught ball, and Elder's trying to move this team down the field now with a little more success.
Well, Lewis Barr for Georgia Southern was right there, made the tackle, but he didn't quite get to the ball.
So it's 3rd and 1 for App State, and the Mountaineers actually are moving the ball a little bit better than they've done most of the day. Reggie Williams' numbers today: 6 of 17 for 60 yards, 7 yards rushing, 4 yards, and not just a real tough day for him. A procedure penalty there, and with so many different guys coming in, new quarterback and others, there's going to be a certain amount of that, I'm sure, expected.
Had a false start there. That's what happens when you change quarterback sometime, and then you're trying to press to get back in this ball game.
We'll throw it down to Ted Byrne.
Well, if you wonder how the no huddle offense works, we'll tell you right after this play. There's 3 guys standing on the Appalachian State sideline that are flashing signals.
Elder's pass downfield intended for Victor Chavis and falls incomplete. Go ahead, Ted.
As you look toward the sideline, backup quarterback number 17, Perry Woolbright, is flashing signals, along with Jason Nicholas, the wide receiver coach, and Mark Spear, the running back coach. They're wearing red and yellow wristbands, and one of them is flashing in the right play. The other 2 are decoys.
Well, it's a punting situation yet again for App State. 4th and 6 at the 35, and Herlocker will let it go. Much better punt this time, but against that wind, it still kind of floats high into the air and bounces out of bounds at about the midfield line. They're going to mark it maybe about the 48 or 49, and we'll take time between these 2 sequences here to see what happens when we come back with just 6 minutes remaining. App State has not beaten Georgia Southern in Paulson Stadium since 1996. The prospects for that do not look to change. 40-0. The Eagles flying high right now over App State. Warren Pepper, Walt Nadzak, and Ted Byrne here along with you today, folks, on CSS. And if you're watching with us this afternoon, 6 minutes remaining. Back at quarterback now, Trey Hunter, the backup, who is going to be given another chance to move this team downfield, as Chaz Williams has really done pretty much anything he wanted to do most of the afternoon. Pitch to the outside. And Georgia Southern continues to work those sidelines to their advantage all day. They've already racked up 339 total yards. App State has now only 96 for the day as we head here midway through the third quarter. Marquise Maynard trying to get that ball around that right side. We've got an injury on the field, and that's Omar Byram for App State, and they're kind of looking at him on the far side as his coaches get him to the sideline for some attention. Looked like he twisted his leg there in that pile, and that sets up a 2nd and 4 at the 46 for Georgia Southern.
That was Marquise Maynard, second-team running back for Georgia Southern. They sure got a barnyard full of running backs.
Again, this time Hunter keeps and tries to get back, and maybe does for about a yard, as Hunter has come on now in relief of Chaz Williams. Not because Williams is hurt or anything. If you're a Georgia Southern fan and you're just tuning in, Williams has just had a whale of an afternoon, and he's kind of just standing on the far end of the sideline there, and may be done for the day with this team up 40-0. Mike Seelock enjoying what's happening on this homecoming crowd, and there's Williams there. Collins to his right, I'll tell you about more in just a moment, because that's a story that they were very concerned about him today. There's Hunter keeping again. I'll mention Collins to you because number 77 right there lost to injury for the year, a preseason all-conference, twisted his knee in their last game, and they got that word that the 6'4", 291-pound senior was going to be done for the year, and that's been a huge loss to that offensive line that Coach Seawalk even talked to you a bit about yesterday, Walt.
Right, and not only that, I'm watching Trey at quarterback now, and what Coach Seawack told me yesterday, he needs to work on his timing. I think the last 2 plays, he probably missed the read. 2 plays ago, the ball, the read give to the fullback, and I think this is great that he's getting the work now in case something does happen to Chaz, because he needs game time. You can't do it in practice all the time. He needs game experience, getting his timing down and his reads down.
They're just about maybe, I don't know, half a football short of a first down, and so that's where they'll go, 4th down there, and certainly no reason at this point not to go for it, given the success they've had most of the rest of the afternoon on 4th down situations. Austin has a 104-yard day effort. He's kind of getting a breather himself right now. And Brandon Andrews is in relief at fullback to see if they can convert this first down on 4th and less than 1 from the 42. Hunter keeps it and appears to have gotten enough for the first down. Both these schools pretty comparable in enrollment. Georgia Southern has a little over 15,000 here at its campus, and App State and Boone, North Carolina with a little over 14,000. And they've really kind of been through the years kind of the real cream of football in the Southern Conference, have they not, Walt?
Yeah, and we've got another measurement down there. You know, I've always said, though, when you talk about schools with less enrollment like Furman and like Walker, it isn't the enrollment in the school, it's the number of scholarships and support you give the program. And they've done it down here, and they have a great student body and great fans, and this is football country.
They do love their football down here, and I used to talk to coaches and opposing teams who come in here, and they knew they had to strap it on when you walked into Statesboro, because not only would the team be ready for you, but the fans that love this sport so much down here in this part of the state waiting on you as well. First down converted, and they'll be 1st and 10 now at the 42.
Double slot out here to the right. Motion back. See, that guy's almost going forward in that motion.
Hunter looking for a receiver, then look at the shifty feet. Hunter picking up another first down, and he's inside the 30 down to about the 25-yard line.
And that's what he needs. He needs to work. sir. And that's what Coach Mike said yesterday. He needs this work. You know, Warren, get back to our conversation a second ago. I ate breakfast in a famed eatery in Statesboro this morning, where there's a large table of gentlemen
solving the world's problems.
Well, they were picking the SEC winner, the winner of this game, and I love it because I just sat there and ate and listened.
First down now at the 26 for Georgia Southern. Hunter showing that he can run this offense as well. The give there to Brandon Andrews right up the middle, and he gets good yardage. 3.5 minutes remaining in the third quarter.
And some new people in there again to work with Trey.
Right.
Count numbers. Appalachian overloaded to the wide side of the field, and now I know why Mike was trying to run to the short side in the first half. That defensive alignment really was, the numbers were to the wide side, and quarterbacks usually count numbers and then they automatic to the side of the offense that has less resistance.
App State really riding high last Saturday after that come-from-behind victory over number 2 ranked Furman. I think a lot of folks in western North Carolina really thought they might have a chance to come down here and surprise these guys, and boy, was Georgia Southern waiting for them. Here's a pitch to the outside again.
Great.
Renan Jefferson, yet another of that stable of running backs that they've kind of gone to all afternoon, gets first down yardage.
And a great block in the corner, Warren.
Chains move again, and now we're going to be about first and goal, just about at the 10.
Kevin Davis got a great block on that play for Georgia Southern.
Well, they really set you up out there. They kind of walk you down that line of scrimmage, and then somebody peels back with a block, and all of a sudden a little scat back scoots around the corner.
Well, I'm impressed that they're not cracking back from outside the tackle spot.
Hunter picks his way into the end zone. Touchdown, Georgia Southern, and Trey Hunter gets 6 more on the board for the Eagles.
He's starting around in the form, isn't he?
Yes. Homecoming here at Paulson Stadium, and the folks are enjoying this. Very few have left at this point, but the score now 46-0 before the PAT.
Starting to trickle out on top of mostly students, it looks like. You know, it's Saturday, and their school's way ahead now, so there's more important things to do, I think.
Point after is up and good, and make it 47-0. Georgia Southern now, after the 9-play drive, going 52 yards for yet another TD. Back from Statesboro with more in just a moment. Games, and I hear people even on the weekends after they've seen maybe a game and say, you know, that game really was closer than it looked. When you look at this stat, it really tells you why there's 47 points on one side and none on the other. 391 total yards for Georgia Southern, 96 total yards today offense for App State. And that's why there's a 47-0 lead right now by Georgia Southern. It's been that one-sided since the early first quarter.
You know, Warren, and these coaches have a lot of respect for each other, and Coach Seawack, he's not going to deliberately try to run the score up on Jerry Moore. They're professional friends.
The two Williams that we kind of profiled to begin, 6 completions out of 17 attempts for App State's Richie Williams. Chaz Williams, 3 touchdowns, 8 of 12 and 140 yards. What an afternoon he had, and he barely played 2.5 quarters.
Well, they're the little inside draw play. It's a lead draw, we used to call it. They're going to have to score quick if they're going to get respectable in this game.
Georgia Southern will go to the Citadel next week, and there's a little payback you hear folks here talking about already because of the Citadel and what they were able to do to Georgia Southern last year.
And that's going to be a tough game for him, but Citadel's in a tough situation. Half the stadium's been torn down for hopefully building a new one in the near future. And, haven't played at home but once so far this season.
Elder's pass, meanwhile, complete to Folks, and he's been extremely quiet today, and a lot of that has to do with the job that's being done by Terrence McBride, the cornerback, having a good year out of Sumter, South Carolina, on that left corner over there. He and Folks have been matched up a good bit of the day, and when he wasn't in his back pocket, Lewis Barr was on the other side. Ball's loose.
Oh, no.
Elder does pick it up right back to himself. And I mentioned that Folks had a tough day, and we're looking at Trey Elder, the backup quarterback, trying his best to get this team moving. And the ball, as soon as it was snapped, was just kind of as he tried to gather himself, but it does pop back up in his arms.
See that ball hit the heel of his hands. The quarterback probably was in a little too deep for that exchange, and that's a tough ball to handle.
Heading for the final few seconds here of the third quarter as Georgia Southern continues to do pretty much all it wants here in this Southern Conference game this afternoon. Elder fakes the pass and then kind of gathers it in and picks up a few yards running himself as we head to the 30-second mark here at the end of the third.
I'm surprised they ran the quarterback with no deception, no fake to a running back, and not throwing it in that circumstance.
Well, we'll see if Elder has any better luck once he has the wind behind him. That wind has really played a part in App State's ability today to move the ball. Here we go with a little different formation than we've seen. It's not quite as wide, but they do have everybody stretched out here. And Elder, as the clock ticks towards 0, is not going to get it off in time, and that will end the third quarter with Georgia Southern leading 47-0. We'll see what some of the backups can do here with 1 quarter remaining and homecoming being enjoyed by those on hand at Paulson Stadium. And welcome back, everybody. 15 minutes remaining in this game, and it's going to be a long ride back to Boone for this App State team that came in nationally ranked this afternoon and has yet figured out a way to get on the scoreboard. Now, Elder, Trey Elder, the freshman quarterback out of Duncan, South Carolina, has been a little more successful, but let's be fair. I mean, he's playing against some second-teamers as well. There's Folks, who's been so quiet today, and that is really just his 4th reception of the day and the most discernible yardage, and it is a positive for App State as it gets them a first down here early. They next week will play Wofford, another team that came in here a couple of weeks ago and got really spanked.
He showed his ability there. Catching the ball in the open field, he's tough to handle.
The 5th largest crowd in school history watching this game this afternoon at Paulson Stadium. Attendance 22,421, and many of them are still on hand here watching this game here in the 14 and a half minutes that remain.
Georgia Southern substituted quite a few people in the interior of this defense at this point.
Well, it is homecoming. You got parents and friends and all coming in, and former players and all, and this is a great time to be able to say, yeah, we got to see Junior play this afternoon.
Well, it's nice for one side, but it's really tough on the other side.
TJ Rutledge there. I wasn't sure we'd see him at all. I'm sorry, I'm looking at the wrong name. That was App State that I wanted to call attention to. Kevin Richardson. Folks today has only got 4 receptions today for a total of 27 yards. And he's a guy who we've mentioned often during the game, about 31 straight games with at least 1 catch and 28 straight games with more than a catch, and leads the nation in receptions with 50, but he's only got 4 today. Pump fake by Elder under a lot of pressure. I mentioned TJ Rutledge a moment ago, and we haven't had a chance to mention him today. He plays for Georgia Southern, and we'll look at this replay of all the defensive heat that continues to be applied by Georgia Southern. But linebacker TJ Rutledge went out of practice Wednesday with a torn bicep. He's done for the year, and that was another concern they had coming in, is all of a sudden they had nobody hurt, and in the space of the week they lose two guys very instrumental, one offensively, Collins we mentioned earlier, and then Rutledge on the defensive side of the ball. The left-footed kicker, Wes Herlocker there, and the ball received at about the 5. Oh, watch him, be careful. He's still on his feet. Jason Foster caught a touchdown pass earlier. He's got one more guy to beat. He's going to take it to the end zone. Touchdown, 95 yards unofficially, as Jason Foster weaves his way across the field to yet another touchdown for Georgia Southern.
I don't see any flags out there, Warren. He's picking up his beanbag, the official back on the 7-yard line.
Oh, man, this was pretty. And you know what? He just picks his way through. A hand here. He fights off an arm tackle there and then breaks it outside. Oh, man, I mean, there's nothing but blue jersey.
And he's showing some speed right here, too.
Terrific run there by Jason Foster, who caught a touchdown pass earlier, now has a punt return for a touchdown. Yet another point added to the board, and we've got 54 on the board for Georgia Southern. They came in averaging 51 a game. They've already exceeded that with 12 and a half minutes remaining. Back with more in just a moment. Football didn't give you enough to chew on today. You can get your NFL fix tomorrow on CSS with Pro Football Weekly. Get exclusive insider information, news reports, in-depth analysis on all the day's biggest NFL matchups. Pro Football Weekly editor Hub Arkush joins NFL Hall of Famer Dan Hampton and radio and television personality Tom Waddle tomorrow at 11:30 Eastern on CSS, your source for Southeast sports. The umpire, Johnny Hibbett, really took a shot during that punt return a few moments ago, and he's been escorted right in the middle of your screen. You'll see it right from as the player was rolling, and it got his left leg, and he's now had to be escorted from the field, so we're going to play with one official short at this point, but we'll hope he'll be okay. He was able to walk off a bit under his own power, but they are still continuing to really hit out there. And App State now with possession again after Georgia Southern in what was officially now, folks, a 94-yard punt return that Foster took back to the house a little bit ago. The third longest in conference history, and it is a school record, oh, by the way.
They're going to have to readjust some of these officials. The umpire calls holding. He's usually positioned right behind the linebackers defensively and watches for holding and clipping and everything else inside. So somebody else is going to have to fill that bill.
So everybody will kind of shift a little bit their responsibilities. There's a move right up the middle by number 42 for App State. And that is Kevin Richardson, who's been seeing some work as Alan Atwater has kind of been given the rest of the day off. Richardson, a freshman from Elizabethtown, North Carolina. He and freshman Trey Elder, the quarterback, both seeing a bit of time now here in the second half with this game so far out of reach.
Jerry's looking for some fresh legs and a little spark and try to get on the scoreboard.
Ball loose on the ground. Looks like Elder, though, does get it back as he and the center had a little problem on the exchange.
Looks like he pulled out a little early. He didn't ride with the center to get the ball. A tough 3rd and 2 here now.
3rd and a couple, ball at the 34. Clock continuing to tick at 11 and a half minutes remaining. Folks on the far side leading the nation in receptions coming in. A tough day with just 4 catches to this point. The gives up the middle. He continues to churn there, but Kevin Richardson's going to be stopped short of the first down. It does not appear that he got anywhere close to that. He's going to be stopped short at about the 35-yard line. He needed to get to about the 36.
Well, the quickness of that defense, he got hit and it looked like he was going to make it, but 2 more Georgia Southern players came in from nowhere and hit him. They're really quick defensively, Warren.
Wes Herlocker, I don't know if there's been a guy who's been worked more today than the punter for App State. He has really...
He's had a lot of opportunities.
And he's been under a lot of rush here. Now he does have the wind with him. Let's see if he gets a little better. And it's still high and wobbly and off to the left side. It does take a huge App State bounce inside the 20-yard line. Georgia Southern with 54 on the board and 10.5 minutes to do some more. We'll see what happens when we come back. You're watching CSS, your source for Southeast sports. Welcome back, everybody. The Eagles up 54-0. Let's get a status report on that injury to the umpire earlier just a bit ago during that punt return. Ted Byrne.
Well, Warren, what they've done is they put a knee brace on him. They thought maybe he might have damaged his ACL. Paul Collins was sitting on the bench next to him, and somebody said, "Hey, Paul, tell him it could be worse." He said, "Yeah, it could be a lot worse." But the umpire is now up and walking around with a big knee brace on.
In fact, he has gone back into the game. Playing hurt there is the umpire, Johnny Hibbett, and they've put him in a brace, and they're going to go ahead and let him continue in the game. But I'll tell you, his mobility is pretty limited, and as you see him kind of hobbling up to the line of scrimmage there. But you're right, that is a key point there, a key place there. Now, most officials would tell you, well, and all officials are key. But his, positioning on the field, as you mentioned earlier, is significant.
You need to get the quickest officials in that umpire position. He sent the back judge back to where he came. The back judge was filling in for him. Mm-hmm. He sent him back, and he's a tough guy. He's a gamer.
Georgia Southern back on offense again, and once again it's going to be their backup quarterback, and he's got quite a bit of play here already in this second half. Trey Hunter, 1 touchdown already rushing, and he's pretty much led the way since about 5 minutes or so into the third quarter here in the second half. Georgia Southern this year at home has outscored its opponents 224-31. I mean, when you come into Statesboro,
those numbers are awesome.
That's just phenomenal.
They fumbled the first exchange here on the handoff, and the second down got nothing. It's 3rd and long.
Hunter looking downfield, throwing across the middle. It's intercepted. App State with the INT there, and Zod Kelly comes up, the junior out of Miami, Florida, with the intercept. And that's the first bit of positive news that App State defense has had to kind of stand up and shout about today.
It might be the only second time in this game they went beyond the 50.
Looked like he may have tried to force this into some coverage here, huh, Walt?
He was throwing it into right there, double coverage. 2 Appalachian State people right there. Trying to make something happen.
So, we'll see if App State can take advantage of this opportunity with the ball there on the 39. And this is about the second time they've been that far in the territory of Georgia Southern all afternoon. Elder looking to throw and comes up empty as he tried to find number 14, Brandon Turner from Spartanburg.
Georgia Southern came strong off the corner after him, too. He ducked up inside, and he was a little rushed to throw. He was throwing on the run.
Elder, also a backup quarterback who has been seeing a good bit of time in this second half when both coaches decided to go with their number 2 guys and not risk any injury, as Richie Williams is having a very tough day trying to solve that defense of Georgia Southern. 2nd and 10, still at the 29.
Shotgun.
Elder's going to keep it. Gets a little bit of positive yardage there, and that ball's down at about, probably the 27 or so.
They're trying to run the speed option there, but he didn't pitch the ball, and he had nowhere to go. No misdirection, nothing to freeze the linebackers.
App State came in averaging 31 points a game that they were scoring this year. They were also averaging giving up, though, about that same amount. Jerry Moore's squad coming in 4-2 and 2-0 in the conference, well on his way here to its first conference loss of the year, and a 54-0 score at the moment.
A little confusion there.
Elder hit from behind as he threw the ball, and applying a lot of pressure there was Georgia Southern's number 97, Thevin Harris.
Well, I thought for a moment maybe Coach Moore would try to kick a field goal. Sometimes to get something on the board morale-wise, it's good, but he's going to go for it on 4th down.
4th and 8, ball at the 27-yard line. The farthest they've been today is the 16. Elder looking for an opening and throws it into coverage, and it is intercepted at the 10-yard line.
Well,
Georgia Southern with the intercept there by number 9, Rico Zachary.
I think it might have been better to knock that down on 4th down. They've lost about 20 yards on that. You know, a young man gets out there and he sees that ball. He wants to catch it.
I mean, you're coached to catch it.
Yeah, and he gets in the stat book now as an IT.
And we mentioned him right here on CSS, and Mom and Dad and others throughout the Southeast can say, all right, Rico, there's one for the folks from home.
There you go, Rico. I tell you what, you can't fault him for that.
Well, that's the other thing, too, Walt, as we're inside the 8-minute mark. You know, as much as neither coach, I would think, I don't know all the history here and whatever about whether or not there's bad blood or anything like that. But, I mean, players are coached to play. And it's hard to let up and hard to, you know, the intensity. You want to go out and do what I mean, this is the gravy day. This is a day you've waited all week in practice to actually go out and play. And both sides would, regardless of how much you've had a chance to play today, you get in, you're going to go out and do what you can do.
Well, there's no question about it, but those coaches respect each other. They've had a long rivalry. It's the players that hype that stuff up. The coaches, they respect each other.
Well, they also know what it's like to be on the other side.
They've been on both sides of it. If you've coached very long, you've been on both sides of it.
Turnovers today, mentioned a little bit ago. 1 turnover just for Georgia Southern, 3 for App State. Jerry Moore, the 16th year at App State, the winningest coach not only at the school but in Southern Conference history.
You know, there's been very, very few penalties today.
You're right.
So it's a hard-fought, hard-hitting, but clean football game. And what also points out they're both well coached on fundamentals.
Trey Hunter here, 6.5 minutes, 3rd and 7. And they keep it on the ground.
They ran that play in the first series of the first quarter with much success, but not right now. They're going to have to punt into the wind.
We haven't seen the punter for Georgia Southern many times today.
Well, Coach Seawack was concerned a little bit about his kicking game, but he probably pretty happy today. The place kicker's done well. They've done very well, and they've had a couple punts blocked this year. That was his concern.
They have had 2 blocked. Here's Patrick Boland from Guyton, Georgia. Who'll get a chance as the backup punter to see what he can do here today. He and Dan Jordan kind of share this duty.
See, I'm surprised Appalachian was in a return instead of a block.
Ball's going to bounce at about the 45-yard line. We're about 6 minutes remaining from this one being over. We will take a break as Georgia Southern continues to control things here. Back in just a moment from Statesboro, live from Paulson Stadium. Out continuing to enjoy this homecoming afternoon here in Statesboro. The crowd, at least for Georgia Southern, App State's crowd has had a tough go of it today as their players trail 54-0.
Warren, it looks like Georgia Southern's substituting almost an entire defense now.
Next week, App State's going to play Wofford. That game will be in Boone. And as we mentioned earlier, Georgia Southern will take on the Citadel.
I look for Appalachian to bounce back next week, playing at home on their turf that they're used to in a friendly atmosphere. Jerry Moore's a good football coach. He didn't win that many games not knowing what to do. He'll regroup them next week. That should be a good game with Wofford.
I'd almost think the worst thing that could happen next week almost would be an off week or a bye week, because you really want to get this thing out of your system as much as you can. And getting right back, you know, they'll look at the film over the weekend and then just start preparing for the next opponent. That's really, they have to really start thinking about that, because Wofford is a team that also came into this very same stadium not too many weeks ago and was really hurt themselves by this Georgia Southern squad, who scored 58 points on Wofford here last month. 54 points already on the board today, and it's been primarily the Chaz Williams show early as he just racked up impressive numbers for 2.5 quarters work. And then it's been more of a mop-up situation for the backup QBs on both sides. Here's Elder trying to find somebody downfield, and he does get a completion there inside the 30-yard line as that ball falls into the hand of number 14, Brandon Turner. And they have hooked up a couple of times now since both have come on the field, as Elder is attempting to move this team into the end zone for the first time all day long inside 5 minutes.
There was just a little confusion with that secondary there. They're getting, Appalachian's got a sophisticated passing game, and these guys haven't seen much of it. They're in the secondary.
Elder looking to unload it again, and he does, to a wide open receiver there who gets it inside the 20, and that is complete to Drew Devine. So a lot of clean jerseys, as we've said, on both sides of this ball now, as both coaches kind of empty their benches here with this game well in hand. And it really has been since probably midway through the second quarter of play. App State threatened one other time when they had the ball at the 16-yard line. This is their furthest penetration since earlier this afternoon.
I think the fourth down and a foot long ago when they threw the pass was mentally a really demoralizing thing to happen.
Elder down the left side, got some running room. Inside the 10-yard line, brought down near the 8. And with 4 minutes remaining, this is the farthest that App State's been in Georgia Southern territory since this game began.
Wide open gap for him to run right there. The receivers ran the secondary off. Contained, broke down from the pass rush on the outside.
3:40 remaining in the game. Elder waiting on the signal from the sidelines. The coaches kind of communicate that once they see what the defensive set is. Pass complete, knocked out of bounds to Drew Devine from Belmont, North Carolina. And they're now at about the doorstep of the end zone, maybe knocked out at about the 1.5 or 2 yard line. And I mentioned Chaz Williams a moment ago, and he's without question today's player of the game. And as a presenting sponsor of today's telecast, BB&T will make a donation on behalf of Chaz Williams to the General Scholarship Fund of the Southern Conference. At the end of the year, the fund will be distributed among the members of the conference. What a terrific day he has had. Elder's pass falls incomplete in the end zone. First and goal, they say it's going to be from the 4 yard line. They'll be second and goal now from the 4.
There's a flag on the play.
A flag does fall there on the field. We'll see what the call is.
Personal foul. Number 38 defense, late hit. 5 yard penalty, go half the distance to goal. Automatic first down.
I think it was a late push. A little aggravation there.
Right.
But the App State guy was pursuing him away from the ball.
Been a clean game, really, all things considered, from a penalty standpoint throughout the day.
I was watching that. He did push him after the whistle blew, but he didn't hit him or clip him.
So it'll go half the distance. First and goal now from the 2 for App State as they continue to try to get on the board. Elder looking to the left corner, and it's complete to Drew Devine. Touchdown, App State.
I think that ball was tipped too by
it did look like the flight of the ball changed a bit after its release.
Went end over end.
So the App State fans do get finally a reason to rejoice with 3:16 on the clock. The pass from Elder to Devine, freshman to a sophomore, and they finally get on the board.
Sounded like the Georgia Southern band over there cheered for this touchdown for Appalachian.
Derisive cheer, perhaps, Walt?
Yeah, I think so.
All right. The point after is good, and it's a 54-7 ball game. App State getting on the board. Ted Byrne, you've been down there for the most part today on the Georgia Southern side. Give me an idea here of just how good this team is in your mind, having been around this part of the state and close to the school in a couple of areas through the years. I get the feeling that they really think this team's going to really go deep this year. I'll get to Ted in just a moment here.
right.
I kind of caught him unawares.
No, I'm right here, Warren. Actually, it's funny you should mention. I talked to you a little bit about the attitude that they had coming into the season. A new tradition that started here at Georgia Southern is that they are now getting a group together to meet the buses. 2 yellow school buses bring the team over from the dressing room. When they get off the bus today, there's 150 people here to greet them as they get off the bus. And that was a tremendous kind of welcome. They got the same kind of welcome when Wofford came to town. When Elon played here, there weren't near as many people that met them at the bus. It's all about attitude, And so I think that this team is definitely back.
All right, they certainly do seem to be the cream of the crop in the SoCon this year. Let me also tell you that next on CSS, a Mountain West showdown between New Mexico and the Rebels of UNLV is scheduled to be shown today, right along these same CSS stations. Hope you'll kind of pull up a chair and watch that one as well, as yet a full Saturday of football is planned right here on Comcast Sports. Georgia Southern receiving this kickoff now with just over 3 minutes drive, lasting 8 plays and going 44 yards for App State's first and only TD of the afternoon.
These are tough times to be a coach or a player on the sideline on this kind of score, Warren.
Well, as I mentioned earlier, it's just, the best thing you can do is kind of get in an amnesia mode almost, I would think, and just start preparing for the next one, because what some coaches say is you don't let one loss create 2 losses and then another one. More players now that we haven't seen today into the game, and that's Georgia Southern's number 7, Steve Steele, taking it downfield for a nice gain. Yeah, you don't let one loss beat you twice, and by that most coaches will use that as a cliche kind of a thing, that we don't let that carry over, and all of a sudden now we've lost a couple that.
And the mental psych for a college student, he's got to go to class. This isn't pro football where you just do nothing but football. They got to go to class. They got roommates, they got friends on the team, and they got to handle it, and they've got to come back.
Clock continuing to tick here. Georgia Southern now with its 6th straight victory. And this is something App State now will have to regroup. They've lost twice before this year. They lost in their opening game out in Wyoming, and then won a couple, and then came back and lost, and then won a couple. So they've kind of had this kind of ebb and flow to their season this year.
Been an up and down season for them so far.
Coming around this left corner here is number 14, Trey Hunter, and he's seen most of the quarterbacking duty here in this second half. Chaz Williams pretty much put this one to bed for himself about 4 or 5 minutes into the third quarter, and Hunter's kind of taken him the rest of the way.
Well, Coach Seawack's not going to let him throw the ball now either.
Right.
He doesn't want to do that to Appalachian State. That would be an insult to injury.
We had 22,000 plus here on hand for this game this afternoon. A homecoming crowd, 5th largest ever at Paulson Stadium. The 20th year this football stadium's been here with, and it just seems to me, I cannot believe it's been that quickly flown by. 20 years of playing games here at this place. Wow, real high tackle there up around the neck.
Little clothesline tackle there. Again, I don't think that was intentional. That's all he had to grab onto.
Walt, would you ever foresee the day that Georgia Southern takes it even up Division I status?
Well, Warren, I know what you're going to ask, and there's been a lot of talk about that in recent years. Every time they have a great season, they've outgrown the Southern Conference. Every time they go to the finals of the playoffs, they've outgrown the Southern Conference. That'd be a pretty difficult thing to do with the atmosphere right now in the NCAA. And what you have to do, you have to have a 35,000 seat stadium.
Okay.
You have to increase scholarships to 85. You're going to have to hire 3 more coaches. I mean, you're looking at $500,000 right up front in expenses. This bowl here, this open end, lends itself to closing it in, and you could probably double deck one of these sides.
Well, appreciating all that you have is what is is so tough to do. Sometimes people see what they have and then they want a little bit more. And this is a very special place for college football at this level right now. And the Division I AA status that they enjoy and what they've built here through the last couple of decades is something that is the envy of a lot of programs around the country. I'm afraid Coach Sewak's about to get the ever popular.
I hope it's a flavor he likes.
Oh, well, it's one thing is guaranteed. It's going to be cold. And I've seen some guys kind of huddling behind him with the clock now at 15 seconds. And, oh, there it just went on top of him. In the meantime, play continues. I know. I was doing play-by-play on something else there. I'm sorry. 5 seconds remaining, and the clock ticks off, and Coach Sewak will make his way there as he continues to enjoy this season after their 6th consecutive win here today, 54-7 over App State. He and Jerry Moore making their way towards midfield. Tough loss for App State as they just were manhandled here this afternoon. And Georgia Southern continues to roll, coming in as advertised, scoring 51 on average this year. They scored more than that today in putting this 54-7 victory on the board against App State. We'll come back with one final thought here in a moment, live from Statesboro, as we continue on CSS with Southern Conference football, back with the final wrap in just a moment. And welcome back again, everybody. Georgia Southern over App State 54-7 today before the 5th largest crowd in school history, 22,000 plus on this homecoming day, to watch Georgia Southern's most ever points against App State. Walt, we thought it would be a lot closer. We thought the other Williams might have as good or better a day throwing the football.
So often, Warren, that you hype a game that we really thought would be a shootout, like 42-35. Turns out like this, either low scoring or a lopsided high score by the other team. But what a great atmosphere for college football, played in a proper perspective, played on a college campus where it belongs, with students and coaches and everybody who are close to each other. I think it's a great atmosphere for college football.
Well, it's been a good Southern Conference victory here for Georgia Southern as they seize top place in the league. You can catch a Mountain West showdown just around the corner now. New Mexico and the Rebels of UNLV set to come up here along your CSS sports stations. We thank you for watching this afternoon. Georgia Southern with 54 points on the board as they continue to lead the nation in scoring. For Walt Nadzak and Ted Byrne, I'm Warren Pepper. We thank you for watching this afternoon. You've been watching CSS, your source for sports in the Southeast. Have a good weekend. Goodbye, everybody.